And we are back, and we just finished watching 2022 Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which clocks in at 1 hour and 57 minutes. This is rated PG and is currently streaming on Netflix. This is the quintessential story of the wooden boy that wants to be a real boy. Our story guide, I guess, is the cricket, played Sebastian J. Cricket or something. Yeah. Yes, played by Ewan McGregor. And he provides the backdrop for the story. This has screenplay credits to Guillermo del Toro and PatrickMcHale, based on the book by Carlo Collodi, and is directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson. This is, wow, way better than Disney's live action. Oh, holy smokes. Yeah. Leaps and bounds. Going into this, I was a little apprehensive because, gotta be honest, I wasn't too jazzed with Nightmare Alley, and
Nightmare Alley was really
disappointing. But this is the maestro in rare form. Gorgeous from start to finish. Not a happy story.
No, they're
very dark themes. There's joy in it, but
happiness there, but the little denouement at the end there
was a complete downer. Holy smokes. Wow. I'm assuming this is more true to the actual story. It's funny because growing up, we saw the 1940s, 50s Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So I think everyone just assumed it's like this happy-go-lucky story. But the actual backstory to this, which they explore well here at the beginning, you get the backstory of what happened to Carlo.
Yeah.
Geppetto's real son. And it's hella heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a life of tragedy, and you see why he built the puppet, and you see like the magic that takes place.
And instead of being drunk, he made a puppet.
Yes,
blackout.
Turns to the bottle, yes, as many do to deal with their depression.
Yes, and loss and grief.
And their loss and their grief, and then you see the spirits or whatever, which I like. I always liked the Guillermo del Toro is good with like creature designs, and
absolutely.
And like these beings that he encounters they're closer to say like biblically accurate angels, because angels aren't just dudes with wings and robes flying around. They just look like sort of like balls of wings with eyes all over them and stuff like that.
Yeah. That you go insane by looking at.
Yeah, that's
I thought the angels were the rabbits.
No, those were like sort of like the spirits that carry the dead to wherever the dead go.
Yeah. I like those guys.
The rabbits were creepy looking too. Yeah.
They sort of reminded me of Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Just those like blank white eyes, and you just see their ribs.
Yeah.
And but they weren't scary.
No.
They were like, all right, we got to do the job. Let's go play some cards now.
Till the next time.
And like that's another thing about this is that in the original or the Disney Pinocchio, they never deal with like death and whatnot. Pinocchio gets killed several times in this movie.
Yes.
He gets killed twice.
No, more than twice.
3 times.
Several times.
Several times.
Gets killed
I don't remember, but yeah.
And
one time he almost doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's the afterlife in there. There's another type of angel creature which looks like a chimera. You're also dealing with fascism in Italy back in
the time of Mussolini,
who was this little dumpy guy. I don't
voiced
like these puppets.
by the lovely Tom Kenny.
I like the puppets.
And very different than SpongeBob.
Yeah.
What?
The guy who did Mussolini is the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Far cry from SpongeBob.
Tom Kenny does a lot of voices.
He does a lot of voices. Yeah.
He was able to do SpongeBob like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Is he also Ice King in
Adventure Time? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. Olive G, I'm going to start with you. What did you think of this film?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
I liked how at the end of the credits, it showed the moving the little sculptures and how long that must have taken.
Yeah, that's the little extra at the end.
Well, no, that wasn't an extra at the end. There's a special featurette you could watch on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was just like after the movie. They're like, oh, would you like to watch this next? And that was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
We could watch that whole thing if you want later.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I liked it so much. Do you want to watch it? No.
Nah.
Small doses.
Yes. That's also reminiscent of like Leica.
Leica always puts that at the end of the
I love
movies.
seeing that.
Right. I do
I
too.
love Leica movies.
Yeah. It's funny because I am a huge fan of CBS Sunday Morning. Shout out to the CBS Sunday Morning program. And they had Guillermo this past weekend, and he was talking about how he had, anyone that's involved in the process knows that stop motion is a true vocation and a true labor of love because of the time devoted to telling these stories. This is a almost 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So this had to have been just labor intensive and an absolute labor of love. He mentioned in the interview that they had 60 cameras set up, which is wow. That beats Ridley Scott.
You're like, I think he also says 24 pictures for every second of film. So by the end of the day,
you have like 2 minutes.
You have if you're lucky.
If you're lucky,
you have 2 minutes of film footage.
Wild.
And
that's wild.
When did they start this then?
It must have been a while, but from what you said, it was they had several film studios doing this simultaneously. So these guys in LA are doing 2 minutes, and these guys in Burbank are doing 2 minutes, and these guys in San Francisco are doing 2 minutes.
I'm sure that cut back on time a lot.
I'm sure it did, but still, I mean, you have to have
crazy amount of work.
The same puppets doing the same things at the same time. That is crazy.
Yeah. And there's all different size puppets.
And all different size puppets. And and then to keep the order. I mean, just crazy. I mean, I've always loved film. I've always loved the whole aspect of storytelling of film. And just as a lover of stories and as a lover of films, it is also nice to get kind of like the backdrop of this and see how these things are made. And it is labor intensive. It is an actual calling. Another thing that he said in the interview was that he had the opportunity to do this finally. And he said, I either was going to do this the right way or I wasn't going to do it at all.
Yeah.
So for him to have realized this dream was
very hard.
Very hard, but still an achievement. So did you have a favorite character and or scene, Olive G?
I just remember that scene where that monkey was fighting that ringmaster.
Count
and
Volpe.
I just kept screaming, kill him!
That was a good scene. There was a lot of chuckles, I think, throughout. Well, not a lot, but we chuckled a few times here and there.
Yeah, I enjoy
situations.
that Del Toro is not afraid to shy away from certain aspects, like that. Like even like simple, just like setting up the atmosphere where like that bird just lands on the mine and you just see it go ka-chung and then boom. Like you wouldn't see that in a Disney thing.
No,
you'd see the bird Moki and flying away at the end.
Yes.
That bird was annihilated.
I actually think my favorite scene was at the end where Jiminy Cricket's just like, where Jiminy Cricket basically says, "And then you die."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's not shying away from is
it's
the fact that we're on this world for a limited time. Make it count. You're not a wooden boy.
You can't get shot and then wait a few minutes and then come back to life.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, and especially for mortals. Mm-hmm. So, and again, it's I don't know. I never read the original story, but in all the film versions that I've seen, it seems like geared towards children. It's PG, so kids can still see it. But there are some very dark themes here. There's some sad things to grapple with. And I think, I've said this before, I think stories and movies are such a great springboard to have conversations with your children and just introduce them to ideas. I don't think that we should shelter kids from talk of death. I think death is something that touches all of us at some point in our lives. And to just go into those conversations and have that awareness, I think, is important, so that you don't make death like this big monster. It's part of life. It's part of the circle of life. Eventually we all move on to whatever plane of existence that we go into. So I think for that, I think this is a great conversation piece.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're terrified of that and you want to hide your children from death,
obviously you're going to shield them from this.
Don't watch this one. But we've never been like that.
Yeah,
I think the main crux of what it was basically trying to say, though, wasn't really anything about life and death. It was pretty much about
family.
Not only family, but the expectations that, let's say, a father would put on a son, and the fact that at some point the son will have to be their own person.
Yes.
And you see that with Candlewick and his dad. You see that with Pinocchio and Geppeto.
Call him Candlestick.
That was like the reoccurring thing. Even with, what was the monkey's name?
Spezzatura
and Volpe.
Yeah.
Like Volpe was just basically an abusive parent to him. And same thing with Candlewick and his dad. His dad was like trying to like mold him into this soldier or whatever. And he didn't really want to follow that.
His father didn't even kiss him goodbye.
Oh, wait. So Tilda Swinton did the Wood Sprite and Death. And Cate Blanchett was Spezzatura. That's so wild. She was the monkey.
But she was also that big chimera. And
no, that was both Tilda Swinton. She was Death and the Wood Sprite.
Are you serious?
You know, sometimes I confuse their voices. I mean, according to IMDb.
So Cate Blanchett was just going, ooh, 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 ooh,
yeah,
the whole movie.
Good for her. And she got paid. Good for her.
What? No way.
You know what? I was expecting to see Alan Tudyk's name in there somewhere.
Get the hell out of here.
She was Spezzatura.
That's got to be a freaking typo. That's got to be a typo.
I believe it.
I don't. That's insane.
I mean, Death did sound like Cate Blanchett, but
you have this wonderful voice. We want you to be a monkey. Go ooh ooh ooh.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
All right. So
virtual high five, Cate Blanchett.
Cate Blanchett's range never ceases to amaze me.
Yes, give this woman a goddamn Oscar already.
From Queen of the Elves to
Spezzatura.
Crazy monkey.
Crazy monkey. G, what'd you think?
It was good, but I was asleep for like the first part of this movie.
You were hiding under the blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you, when you woke up, did you have a favorite scene or character?
Yeah, Death. I liked the design. It was cool. I also like the wood sprite with all the wings, but I just like Death because she walks on 4 legs. I think designs like that are cool.
Yeah. Death was.
Had snakes for tails.
Yeah.
Death was righteously created.
And eyes all over her.
Yeah.
I also found it interesting that their faces were masks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about it. This is done in conjunction with Jim Henson's company, which I'm assuming made the little puppets.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're
I can't think of anybody else that does puppets.
Yeah. Get the Henson company.
Yeah. So just top to bottom, really, really good storytelling, amazing visuals. This absolutely, you can see the love in each and every frame of this film. What'd you think?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was very touching. I loved the character designs. Probably my one gripe in the character designs was Geppeto looked like an old man the entire time. Even when Carlo was alive.
Still alive, yeah.
An entire tree grew.
Yeah, an entire tree grew. He always had a big old man beard, and like they could have made him young and then
aged him, right?
Aged him.
Yeah, that would have made that probably would have made more sense.
That would have helped explain the transition of time occurring because you have this tree that's growing really fast.
Yeah.
And then you have Geppeto, who is just
ageless,
old from the beginning. I mean,
he's like Max von Sydow.
Yeah, there you go. That's a minor complaint. Everything else looks great. The way that everything moved, the stop motion animation was really well done.
Yeah.
Everybody's voices were perfect.
It's funny. There were a couple of songs in this.
Yeah, there's some musical numbers.
Yeah, which I didn't pick up at all on, but at one point I was like, "Oh no, is it going to be that type of film?" But it wasn't. I mean, there were a couple of songs scattered here and there.
There were a couple of songs scattered in, and I like the fact that it was like Sebastian was trying to make it more of a musical, but every time he would start his song,
it was immediately
he'd get like
down.
swat off the screen, or a giant fish would come. He never got off, but at the very end,
I was going to say at the end credits, he gets his final number.
Yeah, top hat and tails and all that.
Done by the lovely and still to this day surprising Ewan McGregor, because originally I think we got put onto him being a singer in Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, he's a
I was
really
like,
good singer.
what is going on here? Because you see him in Train Spotting, you see him in all these other crazy movies, and then all of a sudden in Moulin Rouge, he's just busted out these songs. He's been singing the whole time.
Like the big cheesy grin, Broadway grin, and he's belting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because he just came off I didn't see it. I know that you told me to watch it. Maybe I'll try to make time for it. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show. But it's like Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi
Star Wars
show.
fans, send your hate mail to.
Yes. Somebody's going to get mad that I did that, right? So it's funny to see him go from
Obi-Wan Picard.
That's, oh my God, if you really want to get the Star Wars people in a frenzy, yes, start mashing the fandoms. But
their panties in a knot.
Oh God, yeah. The best thing and the worst thing about Star Wars could possibly be the fans. Absolutely, without a doubt. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting to see Ewan McGregor do that, but he again knocks it out of the park. He's consistently a solid actor, very charming in this, very very charming in this. The Pinocchio version that we saw with Tom Hanks and Joseph Gordon-Levitt lacked so much of the charm that just oozes from this film.
Yeah, it was like soulless.
Yes.
And even seriously, Pinocchio looked like he was an unfinished special effect in that movie.
Yeah.
It was just
I
bad.
completely forgot what that he looked like in that. I wish I'd fallen asleep during that movie and not this one.
Yeah, this was the real deal. This is a labor of love and just a gift at this holiday season. I think one of my takeaways is the idea of life is a journey, and you have family, but you also make family on this journey. And I think that Pinocchio made family on this journey with Sebastian, with Geppeto, with Spazzatura. How do you say the monkey's name? Spazzatura. Yes. So I think that it's lovely because it is such a snapshot of what life is like. Life isn't always easy. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's difficult. But there are parts of joy. And when you bring it all together, that is a life. And I think that in spite of the absolute gut-wrenching loss of his son, Geppeto was able to take that hurt and pain and create this wonderful little wooden boy that brought so much joy, not only to him. Is he
wonderful?
I think he is. I mean, he was a little mouthy. But
I mean, when he first comes alive, he's just crazy. He's running around. What's this? What's this?
Right, but he's the whole.
He almost killed Geppeto
a few times.
Several
Yes.
times.
But I think that's just the whole joie de vivre. Like, oh, wow,
yeah,
I'm alive. I'm part of this world
Yeah,
now.
I mean, that made absolutely perfect sense. And I like how he grew. And I also, there was like he chose to go on this journey. During that scene, he's just like, tell him I won't be a burden anymore. Which was sad.
Yeah.
And he goes out and he's going to do this thing for Geppeto because he believes that this is the right thing. He doesn't want to be a trouble to him, but he loves him and whatnot.
Right.
And that was like another thing that was like really great about it, was especially at the end when Geppeto is like, I don't want you to be Carlo. I want you to be Pinocchio.
Yeah. So it was final acceptance and love and just true
like
love.
All of those, and like all of that felt really earned, and it was just really beautifully done. It's a sweet story, really well told.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this is, again, the maestro in rare form, just back to being the story maker or the storyteller that we all know that he can be. I think this, from top to bottom, the story, the set pieces, the art direction, even the music, even I think in the credits he is responsible for some of the lyrics. I think I saw that really quickly. I don't know, but I mean, this was a really great storytelling experience. And again, feel free to watch this with kids and sit with them and talk to them about what it means to be a person and alive, and how that life isn't always sometimes what you think it's going to be, but that's okay because we all are exactly where we should be. I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. I'm going to start with you. 1 to 10.
Give this an 8.
8. Gigi, 1 to 10.
Probably an 8 too. Yeah.
Olive G, 1 to 10. What would you give it?
8.5.
8.5. I am going to give this film a 10. I don't know that this could have been better.
All right.
In my mind, there is nothing that could have made this film better. I think that from where it starts to where it ends, it's such a lovely journey. It's such a beautiful movie. All the voice actors so perfectly cast. Amazing work. Ewan McGregor, David Bradley, Gregory Mann as Pinocchio and Carlo, Bern Gorman, Ron Perlman, John Turturro is in this, Finn Wolfhard, Cate Blanchett, Tim Blake Nelson is the Black Rabbits, Christoph Waltz as Count Volpe, really, really well done. Tilda Swinton, Tom Kenny, just across the board, just amazing work. It's impressive to me that people with their voices are able to convey. I mean, this isn't people acting on a screen. They're not doing that kind of work. They're just lending their voice to this little puppet or stop motion figure that's doing the storytelling, and it all seamlessly comes together. This is just outstanding, and just kudos to everybody involved. Thank you, Netflix. Again, thank you, Guillermo, for telling a tale that we sometimes think that we know, but that just, again, from this telling, there's so many little details and so much nuance that, again, it almost becomes like a new story. I want to dedicate this episode of the podcast to, speaking of taking journeys, I've transitioned into a new role in my work life and have come to a new group with new people. I'm very excited about my new journey, and I'm so appreciative of my new manager. Her name is Kate. Thank you, Kate, for taking a chance on me. And also just am so appreciative of this new opportunity to work with this new group, with Kate, with Sabina, with Serge, and with David, and Christine when she comes back from maternity leave. I am indebted to you so very much. I look forward to our journey together, and I'm wishing you and yours a happy holidays in advance and a fantastic new year. Onward and upward. And again, if you haven't seen it, it drops today. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio clocks in at what did we say? 1 hour and 57 minutes, rated PG, and just a lovely magical storytelling experience from our house to your house. We appreciate you out there for listening to us, and we will come back with another review soon. Good night.
Night.
Good night.